Hey guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. So we're back in a brand new snapshot. Now before we jump into this one, I am ill, so if I sound a bit weird, that is why. But they have released 24w03a, and this is a snapshot for 1.20.5. It doesn't have any major changes in it, it is just some tweaks to the armadillo and also the breeze, and then also some technical changes, or a lot of technical changes, and also some changes to spawn chunks. So let's first of all cover the armadillo, as the changes to this are quite good. So first of all, the armadillo will now spawn in the Badlands as well as the savannah, so you can find this guy within the Badlands as well now. I don't know whereabouts in Badlands, but we'll have a look at that in a second. Another change, the eyes are now on the side. As you can see, they have just moved the eyes from the front to the side. It does also seem like they've changed the texture of the shell a little bit. Now a few other things. The wolf armor has had a texture update, so let's quickly just see what this looks like. And the change here is the collar has been altered to make it more visible with the armor. Also, the wolf armor and the scutes have had a texture update as well to make them more match the new armadillo shell. It seems like they've just made it a lot lighter rather than how bright it was, but the collar you can see is now a lot more visible with the wolf armor on, and with no wolf armor on you'll see that he's angry for that sheep. If we summon another one, note these are all angry, let's go far away so they don't get angry. You can see that the wolf armor collar has also been altered, I think, to make it more 3D. Although I could be wrong, that could have always been a thing. The next change inside of this snapshot, the two spider types, cave spiders and spiders, will now flee from a uncurled up armadillo. So if you see, the spiders and cave spiders will run away from this mob. If it's curled up in a ball, they don't care. They will stay near it. As soon as it unrolls up, they will then see it as a threat and run away. This can now be used in some kind of like spider farm. You can have the armadillo in a wall or something, and just making sure it don't roll up, so killing any zombies, skeletons or anything nearby. And if you don't sprint near it, spiders will run away from it, meaning that you can have spiders go to a certain point, kind of like how turtle eggs work with zombies. They haven't changed anything about the animation where it has its head and legs popping through. I know that was a lot of thing people didn't like. They haven't changed anything about that just yet, although they might in the future. So we're now within the Badlands, and you can see that armadillos are spawning around the biome. If we travel around a little bit, you should see that there are some more that are spawning. Although they don't seem to be that common, you can see there are 3 more right here. They seem to be somewhat rare, but they seem to spawn in like groups of 1 to 2. So that is all the armadillo improvements and changes within this snapshot. The next thing is the breeze. The breeze will now deflect any projectile that you throw at it. This includes snowballs, eggs, tridents, but the projectile will be thrown back in the direction of the player who threw it. So as you can see, it bounces back towards me. Although it's not as much as like shields and that, you can no longer damage this guy by projectiles. You now have to use swords and things like that. Potions, let's see. You can still hurt him by potions. Potions are not deflected. Now let's cover some of the technical changes. But first, let's cover the spawn chunk changes. Spawn chunks, if you don't know, it's the area in your world that is within the spawn points, so where you spawn when you first load it up. Well, Minecraft has added a new game rule within this update, and it's called Spawn Chunk Radius. This, by default, is set to 2, which makes it so a 48 by 48 area around your spawn point is always loaded. Now, the default for this before this change was 10. So if you want this back to how it was before, you'll have to set this to 10 when making your world. Now, the reason they've made this change to 2 is to help performance. So if you want to make it higher, then you can. But with it being set to 2, only a 48 by 48 area will be loaded, which is obviously 3 chunks. And that will help performance on PCs that can't handle it, as the game don't have to load all the area it had to before, as it's a bigger decrease going from 10 to 2. Just jumping over to the wiki, because I want to show how they explain it, as it's a bit better. In this snapshot, we've made the size of the spawn chunks configured by adding a new game rule, and that is the game rule we showed. The new default setting is 2, which creates a 48 by 48 block area. This is 98% smaller than the previous area. The result will be noticeable performance improvements for most players. If you'd like to keep your spawn chunks working the same like they did before, you have to just set this value to 10. But setting it to 10 will mean that you miss out on the performance gains, and they are looking for feedback on this. I think this is a really good change, because spawn chunks is something that weren't toggleable before, and I think that making it so players can change it to gain that little bit more performance is definitely good. Now let's cover the technical changes, because there are quite a lot. I'm not going to show much of them in game because there's not really much I can show. Data pack version is now 28, resource pack version is now 24. Custom villager trades can be configured to accept items that have different tags from the expected item by adding tags, ignore tags true in the trades MBT. That's good for things like map makers and data pack makers. When entities leave or enter the end, the area they arrive in will now stay loaded for 15 seconds, matching the nether portals. That's good, I guess, but also I guess that could break maybe some farms. They've added some packets. Now, packets right here, they have made some transfer packets, which I'm not going to cover because I don't really understand it. And also cookie packets you can see right there. Now, spawn chunks a little bit more about it. The spawn chunks changed the radius from a 19 by 19 entity ticking chunks to a 2, which is a 3 by 3 entity ticking chunks. This was done to reduce memory usage, loading times, and CPU usage. So the possible values are 0 to 32, where 0 completely disables the spawn chunks, and 10 is the equivalent to the functioning before. The default is 2, equivalent to a 3 by 3 chunks. It is cool that you can make it 0 to disable it completely. And also data pack version 28, the Minecraft sweeping enchantment has been renamed to Sweeping Edge. So just to better name the tag, I guess, or the ID for the enchantment. They've also added a new advancement criteria, and then also any block used and default block used. That probably won't mean much for most players, but here is the thing that I wanted to mention. New item tags controlling what enchantments can be added to what gear. They have now done it so there are item tags controlling enchantable foot armor, enchantable leg armor, chest armor, head armor, weapon, sword, mining loot, fishing, trident, durability, bow, equipable, crossbow, and vanishing. Now, this is going to be good, because I think this controls what enchantments can go on each of them. I'm now quickly just opening up the tags list so we can have a look at how this works. So it's inside of Minecraft, enchantable. Where is that? It don't seem to be here. World gen? No, it's not inside a world gen. Where is it? Items? Yes, there we go. Items, enchantable. And you can see all the different options are right here. Let's open up sword. And sword just has Minecraft swords. If we open up equipable, that has anything that is equipable by the player, which is obviously the armors, elytra, skulls, and then also carved pumpkin. And they have added some entity tag types, which is the ignores, poison, and regen. The illager friends, that is for entities that illagers will consider allies, so I'm guessing things like ravagers, evokers, vindicators, pillagers. They have then done inverted healing and harm. This is for entities that have inverted meanings for healing and harm effects. Not scary for pufferfish. We then also got sensitive to the bane of arthropods, sensitive to impaling, and wither thorns. Now, covering a few of these, the ones that we are going to cover is illager friends. You'll see as illagers, and then inside the illagers tag is just the evoker, illusion, pillager, vindicator. Inverted healing and harming is just undead, so undead mobs. We then have not scary for pufferfish is turtles, guardians, elder guardians, cods, pufferfish, salmons, tropical fish, dolphins, squids, so anything that basically just spawns in the oceans. There has also been one change to the trade with balance experimental toggle, and in the trade with balance experimental toggle, villagers who buy armor now ignore durability and can buy damaged armor as well. That is a good change because you can trade in your damaged armor for emeralds or whatever the trade is. Now let's quickly cover some of the bugs related to the armadillo. If you was to punch a wolf, the wolf armor would show the red hitting as well. Now that is no longer the case, and only the wolf will show that it's being damaged. The second thing, if you had a baby armadillo, you couldn't feed these spider eyes to grow them up. That is no longer the case, and you can now speed up their growth with spider eyes. A few more bugs with the armadillo. When you were breeding them, they wouldn't stand close together. There were some times where they could be big massive gaps between them. That is now no longer the case, and they'll get as close as they can before breeding. They would also panic if they took full damage, so if you was to drop them or something like that, they would panic and try to run away. That is no longer the case. Anyway, that is where I'm going to end this video. I do apologise that it's been a bit all over the place. I am currently ill, so it's a bit hard to record. But these are some good changes. The changes they've made in this snapshot are pretty decent, and it's only the first one of this year, so there is plenty more to come. If you enjoyed, do leave a like and subscribe, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.